little I am, Mars. See how little I am? Hi, everybody. nicely set up. Okay. Well, it'll get smaller in just a minute. So thank you all for coming, and I'm going to do a little bit of teaching in regards to Sakyamuni Buddha. Show a video of the life and the last few days of his life, his death, and how he died, and where he died, and what he died of, and how that kind of went down. Yeah. So it was well done. Yeah. It's not real scary. Yeah. But it's pretty honest and truthful, and there are depictions of his more true likeness. You know, that might give you a bit of a sense of Buddha, you know, because everybody sees the paintings and sculptures of Buddha, but there are more likenesses in this video which come from takings from the Arhats and the images that they originally did of Buddha. Yeah. So there are periods of his time of life where he looks different, and he has back pain, he's suffering from lots of pain, yeah, and conditions, and he gets to a certain stage. So this is about that. So I'm going to show that.
For decades, the Buddha shared his teachings all across northeastern India. Let all beings be happy, he taught. Weak or strong, great or small. Let us cherish all creatures as a mother her only child. Barefoot in his robes, he was still walking the roads when he was 80. But old age was upon him. His back hurt. His stomach was often in pain. I am old, worn out, he told a trusted disciple, like a dilapidated cart in straps. The world is so sweet, he said, that he could understand wanting to live for at least another century. But he was frail and exhausted. He became ill near Kushinagara, a remote village near the border of Nepal, when he was offered a meal which would prove deadly. The food was spoiled.
He ate what was offered to him.
Yeah, I know, and I can't change it. It was pre-recorded that way.
He took it anyway because it was offered, and didn't want the person who offered it to feel bad, because it was his time.
Today, Kushinagara is revered by pilgrims as the place where the Buddha finally left the world. It was in Kushinagara where he grew weak and asked to be laid on his side in a quiet grove of sal trees. As he neared the end, his disciples began to weep, stricken with grief. But the Buddha reassured them. All things change, he said. Whatever is born is subject to decay.
He's saying this is a natural process. He tells his disciples, use this time, use the energy here, even this, for your own awakening. So he used even his own death and their sadness as a time to remind them of what their real task was. What he's actually doing is inviting those who are close to him into the experience. I don't think the Buddha's teaching in any way argues against grief or sadness or loss.
The teachings, if they make any sense, have to make sense in ordinary circumstances, in ordinary lives. And in ordinary lives, we grieve when we lose. We grieve. When it hurts, we say ouch.
These guys super grieved. I was there.
Buddhism is trying to look at things the way they are, the way it is, just as it is. It hurts. This is life. This is our life. And our relation to life involves losing it, too. You don't get beyond these things. You don't get beyond them.
It's all right to feel what human beings feel. And we are not.
Now we have no teacher. But that is not how you should see it. Let the dharma and the discipline that I have taught you be your teacher. All individual things pass away. Strive on, untiringly. These were the Buddha's last words.
The Buddha died peacefully. His head was pointed to the north, his face to the west. The stories tell how the earth shook and the trees suddenly burst into bloom.
Those are
Their petals
Mandarapa
falling
flowers.
gently on his still body, falling out of reverence.
And that really happened.
Divine coral flowers and divine sandalwood powders fell from above on the Buddha's body, out of reverence.
His disciples were quite upset. What are we going to do without our teacher? We will be lost without our teacher. But his instruction was so simple and so clear. I am not your light. I am not.
Yeah, so then we end up with a lot of bullshit. Yeah. And the truth is that, what? You can't see me? No, that's me. Yeah. The truth is that reincarnation is what I taught. Yeah. And I helped everybody with pujas and realize that all Buddhas who incarnate are committed to not disincarnate, they're to reincarnate. And they're to continue reincarnating until all sentient beings attain Buddhahood. Yeah, that's what I taught. Yeah. Where is it? Where did they find Buddha after he died? Nobody looked. Yeah. Because they rewrote from this mourning process, this deluded mind, this lack of faith, this destroyer of the dharma. Yeah. Yeah. The teacher had a teaching, but the students had a different teaching. And the teaching took over Buddha's teaching and eliminated the coming of Buddha again. So Buddha struggles and struggles and struggles. 500 years later, I finally get to incarnate again. And the same thing happens. But it took me over 35 years to get to the teaching point when I was Buddha. So I was attacked and murdered and killed. before I was 33. No one ever heard my teaching. I never began. Yeah. So there I go. I'm gone again. Did anybody look for me? Yeah. All the Hebrews at that time believed in reincarnation. They came up to me and asked me, are you the reincarnation of this person or that person, according to prophecy? So there's no real reason as to why I wouldn't be found within 1 year. Because I always reincarnate. I have since the beginning of time. But I have a little bit of difficulty. The process of people's situation where they like to compete. And they want to compete with me. And I know things and do things that they don't know and they cannot do. So that is very threatening to channeling, mediumship, astrology. As the earth keeps going and this false psychicism continues, it's harder for me to incarnate. So they erased me before I turned my age. And that's history. If you look at it, that's history. When I was Dalai Lama, they erased me before I got on the throne. Before I was able to put anything into action and begin teaching. I never had a time as a Dalai Lama to teach. Not once. I snuck in as Tsongkhapa because of my own incarnation as the Karmapa. I fostered a relationship with the incarnation in Naropa, which is a direct emanation of me. I fostered the incarnation of myself as Milarepa. I brought Naguma into incarnation. I brought Tolopa into incarnation. I brought Marpa, Gampopa. All of us within 100-year period. And we were hanging. We were creating. And we were all learning that it really is hard for me more than any of the rest of you. So since this time always comes around, when the cycle comes to sacrifice, being thrown on a fire, being whipped or tortured, I take that job. And the rest walk free. They get to teach. They get empowerments. So in the second incarnation of the Karmapa, I was thrown over a waterfall. I was beaten with clubs. I was attacked over 50 times in a lifetime. Left for dead. No other Karmapa ever experienced that. I took that job. And at the same time, I took on the manifestation of Milarepa. And I had to go through the process of remorse, of what it's like to harm somebody, and know the black magic, and know the process of evil spirits, and be able to turn right around and get out of it, stabilize it, and teach, and create the Kaju lineage, and the Karmapa, Naropa, Marpa, and Gampopa. All that was done by me as Milarepa. And then I came back, and I took on the hardest job for the Karmapa. And that allowed the Karmapas to continue. It allowed a Sharmapa to come. It allowed others to come. It allowed the forces of the Kaju lineage and then the relationship of Tsongkhapa, which was established by Karmapa. Because we're a group, we're emanations. Without that, people will feed me and kill me without even knowing they're doing it. So I kind of get upset about prasadam. And it's a little bit aggravating if it's not right. Because the dangers are only there for me, nobody else. Yeah? The degree of demons that come into a sandwich, that comes from energy that's around me, of irreverence or anything like that, yeah, that's what killed Buddha. It wasn't bad food. I went to Dharamsala to deal with the Karmapa and to deal with the Dalai Lama. And I sat there in my own Dharma center as Buddha Maitreya, recognized, building a stupa and acknowledged by thousands of people as a previous incarnation of the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala. I had people gathering. I had political people coming in that needed to have a stupa built. And their relationship was that for the first time they sat before the Dalai Lama. Even though they've sat before the Dalai Lama. This is the first time they've sat before the Dalai Lama. Because I've been in hiding, or I'd be dead. I have died so many times in this life. You have no idea how much God has intervened to keep me on this planet. And that's by me not stepping forward. So all the other lives, and every single one, is I take the position where it's most dangerous. I will be there in the moment when the nuclear bomb is to land, and it will be aimed at me. When Korea is ready to shoot off the first nuclear bomb, I'm sitting on the island that it's aiming at, where it was going to land, in Oahu and Maui. And they actually had alerts. They had people, running to under buildings and everything for over an hour, thinking that nuclear bombs, 3 nuclear missiles, were heading toward Hawaii. Because it's that close. And that's where they're aiming. And that's where I was sitting. So within a year and a half, I turned the Koreans around to disarm nuclear weapons. I did that by being in Hawaii and taking on shit you can't imagine. Astral, psychic bullshit that humiliated my soul beyond belief in the form of anti-prasadam. And it's not by a personal nature that it happens. It happens by Korea doing what they're doing and other people doing what they're doing. This is my planet. This is my house. I just don't get to come out much. I don't get to say much. But I'm 67 years old. And when I was Buddha, I lasted until I was 80. And to be honest, that was pretty much the oldest life I've lived. And the only reason I did that, and if you study Buddhism, you'll find out that I hid. No one knew where I was going to be. I walked all the time. And I kept out of people's view. Because people were attacking me. They were trying to poison me. They were not happy people around me. There were demons everywhere. All my students came from other teachers who didn't believe in anything I said. They all believed in demigods and everything I was against, they believed in. So they brought demons with them. All of them. And in every case, that's what happens. So it's a little bit, in reality, it's a little bit on the hard side when it comes down to teaching this process. So I'm working to try and arrange a relationship with the Karmapa and heal, what's separation there. And I'm working on trying to get back to Tibet, and heal what's separation there. But the biggest influence is the transmission quality. I can transmit within, say, a 24-hour period, if my energy is allowed to continue rising. Yeah, and it transmits. Because imagine if I am this being, yeah, and this being is 1 hour into it, another hour into it, and that means that I'm alive. Yeah, that means that my life is prasadam. Yeah, I live on a lotus. Yeah, but my lotus can be burnt up. All the lotuses that I sit on, all their leaves can curl under. And I have nothing. No vitality, no nothing. And that's what killed Jesus. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what killed Buddha. It wasn't just old age. You know, I mean, I could hardly walk. You know? So there was a deflowering of the process of the lotus that gave me birth. And as time goes on, you know, instead of me illuminating that out into humanity and bringing other people into being lotus born, which I can't do as my lotus is being dismantled. I'm not on a throne day to day, you know. I might, you know, but I'm lucky if I can get 8 hours into a cycle of going up before something happens and I can't receive prasadam. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Mother, who is all of you, has no relationship to Father. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know, so prasadam has to do with whether or not there is a good quality in nature. And that nature recognizes its origin. Yeah? And it's not nature. It's God. It's the Father. Yeah? And prasadam is moving people to do these things. Does that make sense? That's nature. Yeah? But if that's not happening, that very same thing is going to move people to kill me, disembowel me, do things to me without any remorse. Not like in Buddhism where they're all crying and everything. In this case, there's no conscious available awareness. Yeah? Because that's in Buddhism. It's like, you know, you see what you want to see. You know? So I could die like this, but you, after all this time, even though the teachings are supposed to be true, but how come the death, the synapsis, the synoptic, the reality of the moment reality of that isn't written down correctly? Yeah? Does that make sense? You know? So there's a nature involved, and that's wrong view. And that's what Buddhism is about, is to attain right view. Yeah? Don't follow this distraction of lower nature. Yeah? Do everything you possibly can to do the right thing. You don't forget. Yeah? You don't have misunderstandings. Yeah? Does that make sense? That's Buddhism. That's the practice. Yeah? And that's what saves the teacher. Because if you're not like that, then you're actually taking the energy from the teacher and not prasadam. Does that make sense? Yeah? So the teacher has a life cycle under those conditions. It could be 33 years, it could be 10 years, it could be 88 years. It all depends on the prasadam. In my case, I usually create my own prasadam. I go into advance and I cook or overshadow the very thing that might come to me as prasadam. But when it comes down to that moment where I actually connect to my lotus, nobody's with me. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I can't eat at that time. Yeah. Does that make sense? I usually just get up, say, I'm sorry, I'll eat next time. Yeah. And that, to me, is how I protect myself. Because I create really bad karma opportunities for really evil people who have intention to do harm. And just allowing the innocence of the process of people who just don't have proper awareness to do such harm, it's wrong for me to allow them to do that. Because that's furthering their selfish service. Does that make sense? Yeah. And in the end, you lose your guru. And it destroys your future lives. Because you imagine the people who were there witnessing Buddha or witnessing Jesus, how many future incarnations do you think they had without being suicidal? Yeah? Yeah, just there's no way of working it out. You know, none of those people, if you look at their lives, almost every one of them were stoned to death or hung upside down. Yeah, does it make sense? That's how they died. Yeah. You know, so you can make up any story you want for their next future lives. But that one really went down bad. And all the delusions about discipleship and everything and all their glory is pretty diluted when you pin it all on people who betrayed them and died in horrible karma due to that action. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know, and it was all down to the last prasadam. And they had to betray him during prasadam, which they did every time. You just weren't there. It wasn't written in. Yeah. But there wasn't a time I sat down to eat that I wasn't judged as to who I was sitting down to eat with. And projections were placed upon me. Yeah. So I took those demons and ate them. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. You can't run from them. You can't hide from them. So to take them in. And that means that you now have a karmic indebtedness to future pain and future suffering. Yeah. Yeah. And you keep eating and doing all that, and everybody's projecting at you, and it only lasts about 1.5 years. You end up on a cross. Yeah. And no one kind of figures it out, because I got proper view. Everybody else makes up their story. And we get what we have now is Buddhism, or we get Christianity, or we get nuclear wars and a Holocaust. Yeah. So anyway, that's my take of this process. It's really important. I mean, I'm 67 years old. You know, I have died at least 11 times in this life alone. You know, and that was just 7 months ago. Was the last time. Yeah. So, yeah. And you know, most of the people out there are just going, oh, I wonder what that means. You know, it literally means, you know, like you die, you die. Yeah. And just so happens you wake up 6 hours later. And you're still in the bed you died in. But you got rigor mortis, and you got illness, and you got all kinds of crap you got to heal. And it takes like about a week or two. But you still got to continue connecting with people, and you don't want anybody to be worried because you're still alive. Yeah. Last thing anybody can cope with, you know, oh my God, he died, you know. Yeah. Well, it's the irreverence that brought it about, you know, so I'm not about to tell anybody the situation. And my process was to immediately bring Tibetan Buddhism into a focus for these people who had just lost their teacher, you know, and start playing the Karmapa pujas and things like that, and orient a place for, you know, the next cycle of my manifestation, even though I'm having all this projection on me, you know, as though nothing has happened. And just treat me like it's all the same, you know. But I'm not the same person I was, you know, 10 months ago, you know. But that's not how I'm seen or experienced. And that's not a good thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm pushing an increase of relationship, of helping me to stay alive when I come in contact with the most dangerous scenarios. And if I keep eating what's coming down at me every day, then my outcome is going to be pretty terrible. Yeah. And I'm not saying that to make anybody, get off on weirdness. I'm just saying that because that is the way it comes down with me if people aren't helping me to protect me. Yeah. And if it doesn't happen, then all of a sudden in that process, when I say, oh, I got to get up, well, already there are at least 30 or 40 demons in the room, and they're affecting everybody who was in that room. And everything goes into chaos, and I have to absorb all of that, which I did not bring into the room. And I have to heal all of those people and make them feel better so that I can get another meal, maybe in about 3 hours. So that this cycle can stop. And I might be able to begin puja for the person that I came back as 7 months ago. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm going to do a puja now. I'm going to put a hat on for the person who came back 7 months ago. Yeah. And, it doesn't matter, in relationship to all of people, but it does to me in relationship to prasadam. Yeah. The putting this hat on has to do with my honoring the earth, and allowing my body to be used as the mother. It's not about, the fact is that I'm a divine hermaphrodite. I don't have two sexes, but I do have the manifestation of all my chakras. Yeah, and they're balanced. So when you're like that, you become like Buddha. And in Buddha nature, you don't have a separation. You have a relationship between male and female, and it's balanced. And that's because you have balance inside yourself. Yeah. And who you are, you're automatically in right relationship to male or female. You're good for humanity. Yeah. So, all that other stuff is the separation between the lower half of your vehicles and the upper half of your vehicles. And I don't have that separation. So they call it a divine hermaphrodite. It has nothing to do with having two sexes. Yeah. But it is the definition of God. Yeah? And that's the way my Father is. And I and my Father are the same. So there is no, boyfriend, girlfriend situation in heaven. It is emanations of the One. And here, this is the quality of separation. So I'm working in order to bring about the authorization of Buddhism into the elemental nature of this planet. So I'm awakening emanations. And those emanations, they're all the qualities of this female nature quality. That's how they make their bodies. That's how they get their activities. And that's a Tara nature. An influence of my other half. That's why Tara is Tara. Because there are others who are emanations of Maitreya, there are others who are emanations of Milarepa, there are others of emanations of this and that. But the quality that I am is I hold all of those. And nobody holds, I don't lean on any of my emanations. They don't support me. They don't give transmission to me to make me or bring me into anything. I am 1,000 leagues ahead of this. And they are the manifestation of my effort. So I've already done what it took to create them. And I'm way ahead in the process. That was a long time ago. And that's why I talk about recapitulation and the history of these people's reincarnations. Because that's how I'm affecting them, through recapitulation. Does that make sense? So I can heal the planet through the transmission to emanations, but I need to receive bodhicitta qualities that come from those emanations that allow me to eat food, to drink water, to have a relationship to the elements. So I make geometric forms like this to teach these humans that there is such divinity. I talk about praying over water to show the difference between dead water, hateful water, and water that has love in it. That you can make a difference. But you have to have your mind set in the right way. You cannot have it wrong. And all there is really God. And if you see things correctly, you can't see people wrongly and judge them for that reason. You have to see them for what it really is, and you're not the creator, and you're not the judge or the jury. Does that make sense? But it's that nature that I'm fighting. That all those glamours and everything. So for me to change things, all the influences is a relationship to bring about a change inside of nature. So in Buddhism or in Hinduism or anything to do with the avatar, it always has to do with prasadam. So we do it in a puja or we do it in relationship. And most yogis, they make their own food. They do not take it from another person. They do not have people in their space or see anything that they're doing. Simply because they don't have proper view. And it doesn't just imperil, it blocks the evolution of that great yogi. Which is a real detriment to the whole entire human race, because we only got a few of those. So, it's best not to let people just come in and fall over, on the person and spit into the food or say negative things while they're holding up this light and they're trying to feed their vessel. Does that make sense? And every time they feed that light goes into every mineral on earth, and children are born in the light of Buddha as the mother. And that only happens if the Buddha is provided prasadam. And that means good time all the time. No negative thoughts, no negative conversation, no talk about other people, no talk about this or that. Just what's going on in the moment to best deal with the Buddha. Does that make sense? And then that goes trickling down the road into all the masters, and we don't get Kalu Rinpoche being raped, growing up, molested. Because that's the way nature is right now. Does that make sense? It's molesting the teaching. It's cutting it off, shutting it off, kicking it, slapping it. That's what psychic energy does. It just destroys the angel that's in activity. And it's just a little devil just doing terrible, terrible things, making gestures and terrible comments and, things in the world that are all so confusing. And that's the astral plane. And they are angelic fallen beings. Does that make sense? And then you got this angel sitting here, the only one, who can fix that. Because they got you. And if you let this, do his thing on a day-to-day basis, all of a sudden, everything begins to change. But it requires no break. Not one. If even 9 days goes by and all of a sudden there's a mishap, 9 days are dissolved. Because the Lord is the Lord of time. And he doesn't work in trickles of time. He works in kalpas. Does that make sense? So it's not a good idea to distract the Lord and overteach the Lord, because every word that comes out of the Lord is actually bringing teachings to humanity, and they're the only words they can hear, and everybody else is false prophets. I put out some teachings tonight, and it talks about that. The process of the second initiation. And that's the process where people want to become ministers, even lamas or yogis or whatever. But in that process, they want to teach people how to eat, how to sleep, how to think. Yeah. It is the way. Yeah. They have the path. They found the answer. Yeah. And that's all well and good, but it's not true. It's a show. Snake oil. Yeah? Because 5 years later, you're going to find out, shit, that's common sense. That's not the way. I should have been left alone. Because Buddha was talking, and if I had been listening, he would have said that 20 years before that. And this is just a ripple of somebody who finally caught on. Make sense? But if you're a good student, you go, Buddha said that 20 years ago. I've been following this teaching all along. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's prasadam. No prasadam yet, but it's happening. And when it does, we will see children be the first ones who are affected. Babies, newborns, yeah? Even old people as they're dying will be blessed. Simply because we have a new Mother Nature. And it's Buddha. It's not a disciple. It's not anybody. It's Christ. It's a church of Christ. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's the body of Christ. Yeah? Yeah? No harlots. Yeah? No false prophets. No astrology. Yeah? No numerology. No special dietary needs. Yeah. Does it make sense? Yeah. It's not God in the machine. Yeah. It's the Lord. Yeah. And out of that, if you catch it, it'll ripple back through time. And all the good merit that you've done will come back into your body. Yeah. Because you're not against the Lord's word following a false prophet who gives you a lesser teaching that keeps you from the Lord. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so let's meditate. All right. Oh. Okay, let's do the invocation. Just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One.
Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One.
All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
That's not me. Maybe. No. Thanks. Okay. Okay, take a deep breath. That body is alive. I know its life. I therefore know my mother. I use a body. That body is not me. I serve the group, and in this serving live within the body, detached. Son of God, I know myself. I infuse a body. I am its life. And in that life shall I see life. That life is known as love. I am the love of God. I know the Father, and I know His life is love. I am the body and its loving life. I am the self whose quality is love. I am the life of God Himself. The Mother, Father, Son am I. Behind these three stands the unknown God. That God am I. From the point of light within the mind of God, Let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love, within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men and women, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, we call the race of mankind. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Sevenfold the work. 7, the energies. And sevenfold the path back to the center of peace. Let the disciple live in love and love in life. The soul is the Son of God, the product of the union of spirit and matter. The soul is an embodiment of consciousness of mind, the expression of divine intelligent awareness. The soul is a unity of energy, vibrating in unison with one of the 7 ray lives, and colored by a particular ray of light. The personality of the soul is the embodiment of love, applied intelligently, producing an attractive form which will serve to express that loving intelligence. be the embodiment of divine purpose, applied in great active creativity, which produces the power of creative love. We are born of the love of Father for the Mother, of the desire of life for form. Express the love, the magnetic attractiveness of God's nature, and the responsiveness of form nature, and the I am consciousness itself of the awareness of deity in life. Therefore know my mother. I use a body. That body is not me. I serve the group, and in this serving live within the body, detached, a son of God. I know myself. Infuse a body. I am its life, and in that life shall I see life. That
the body and its loving life. I am the self, whose quality is love. I am the life of God Himself. The Mother, Father, Son, am I. Behind these three stands the unknown God. That God am I. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men and women, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, we call the race of mankind. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. I call upon the one most high God. To let the disciple know the nature of his Lord of love. Seven, the aspects of love of God. Seven, the colors of the manifesting one. Sevenfold, the work. Seven, the energies. And sevenfold, the path back to the center of peace. Let the disciple live in love and love in life. The soul is the Son of God, the product of the union of spirit and matter. The soul is an embodiment of consciousness of mind, the expression soul is a unity of energy, vibrating in unison with one of the 7 ray lives and colored by a particular ray of light. Embodiment of love, applied intelligently, producing an attractive form which will serve to express that loving intelligence. The soul is intended to be the embodiment of divine purpose, applied in great active creativity, which produces the power of creative love. We are born of the love of Father for the Mother, of the desire of life for form. Express the love, the magnetic attractiveness of God's nature, and the responsiveness of form nature, and the I am consciousness itself of the awareness of deity in life.
Okay, just relax. Okay, you can open your eyes. Good to see everybody's still here. So wrong view. It really is destructive. Yeah. And right view, it really is illuminating. And that's what enlightenment is. Yeah. It literally allows the consciousness that passes from God and not the tree of knowledge. And you shut your mouth enough to where you're able to receive. But the difficulty is that, imagine here I am. Yeah, I'm the teacher. Well, that's a heck of a thing to say. You know? That means I can't say anything? Yeah? Well, does it? Yeah? Maybe you're just full of shit. I don't know. I'm not you. Yeah. I'm me. Now, if you want to get to know me, you need to get to know me. So imagine I'm sitting there watching TV, and you're getting to know me, because we're both watching TV. The difference is, you can't see the TV. You can see what's on, and you can kind of interpret, but boy, are you interpreting. Now ask me what I see. And I will tell you step for step what they said, where they've been, what the set looked like, and where they're going. What are the next things that's going to be said? Not done, but said. I know the lines before they happen. That's a clear view. Because this is a phenomenon. And you're supporting very evil forces if you don't see it this way. Yeah? It's important to clear your astral bullshit. Yeah? It's the only reason why I'm not externalized. Yeah? Because no one's allowed me to do it yet. Yeah? Everybody wants it. Yeah? But is people really in a position, and I'm the one who actually is in charge of the process, because there are emanations, and I'm helping these emanations learn to recapitulate. Yeah? Yeah. So the main thing is that you don't contradict the teacher. Ever. Yeah? Because the teacher actually already knows more than you already know. Because if you were to watch TV with the teacher, and you try and teach the teacher what you just saw, you would be very deluded. And it'd be obvious and very embarrassing. So the teacher doesn't do that to you. The teacher just helps you see it, tells you about the story properly, and allows you to catch up. Doesn't make you feel bad, doesn't make you feel like you're stupid, just enlightens you. And all of a sudden, you could see it differently. Before you couldn't, but only because of the teacher, and you didn't spend a moment criticizing while that was going on. But that's TV. What about life? What about something you read? What about something you think? What about someone else told you something? Yeah. And now that it just goes what it does, Everybody's got things that they want to do. I mean, we just collect all kinds of bullshit. We just collect it. Yeah. And we have no idea how to get rid of it. Yeah. Yeah. And this whole thing is so simple. Middle way. If the teacher was externalized, I could lay everything down. I'm a midwife. Not many people are midwives. I'm a chef. Yeah? I'm a doctor. Yeah? I'm an archaeologist, an anthropologist, a sociologist, and I've been to school. Yeah? I've mastered all these things. You have not. Yeah? Everything, from politics to physics. Yeah? I do it without any effort, because it's all an emanation. It's not real. It's part of the new group of world servers, and it comes from me. Yeah. But in this false prophecy, people get caught up in thinking that this or that and this and that is what's turning this wheel. Yeah. So we all talk about Tesla, or we all talk about Edison, or we all talk about Frankfurt Wright, or we all talk about all these things, but we don't mention Jesus as an architect. And yet it's obvious he was an architect. And we don't mention, the connection between all the sacred geomancy and why he was at the pyramid, and that he actually taught that God was an architect. He taught that. Yeah, it's in the Bible. He taught that at 9 years old. We don't get those things. Because everybody else is out there, trying to take the information of the time and give teachings on the information of the time, while I am 100 years in the future, giving teachings today that will take us to that time. And yet these other people are only talking about what everybody else can talk about at this point in time. Does that make sense? Yeah. Not good. Not good. Yeah. I can make things a whole lot better if I wasn't interrupted. Yeah. With teachings that I'm supposed to receive. As though I need to learn. And I need to not only learn, but I need to get my act together. Yeah? Behave, do this and this, and do that and that, do this wherever. Yeah? Whether I'm in Tibetan Buddhism, or if I walk into Christianity, it's all God in the machine. I'm not there. Yeah? But I'm supposed to behave in that machine that is all just lower mind, common sense, everyday origin information. Has nothing to do with spirituality. It's like politics. Yeah? It's short term. Yeah? Even the Karmapa just said that. Yeah? Yeah, so that's my thing. Is that, prasadam and that relationship, when I went to Tibet and when I went into Drepung, they hid me. They made me hide. They made me duck down inside the car as I drove into Drepung. I couldn't go out in the daytime. They would drive me into a Thompson and sneak me through the stairwell. Because they were afraid people were going to kill me. It's true. They were afraid people were going to poison me. So they wanted to make sure only certain people fed me. Certain Thompsons. They wouldn't let anybody else feed me. No water, no nothing. And it was cool. I loved the food. But they understood who they're dealing with. And that I was able to do what I'm doing. Provide assistance and stand up and say who I am. And at the same time, have circumstances around me in my own relationship completely destroying me. And nobody's in charge. Nobody knows anything as to what's going on. Because there's a dark lodge jumping on people, grabbing people, disorienting people, taking them away from my future. Just like Dalai Lama says it's wrong to do this, and another person comes up to you and says it's wrong-minded the way you're thinking. Only for their own corruption. So that they can get something from you. Use you rather than you serve Buddha. And that's history. That has happened since the beginning of time. Lucifer tried to do the same to Eve. It's been going on and on and on. So prasadam is really important. I don't want an apple. And I don't want to listen to Lucifer. But I have to, because people just want to tell me. And if I don't listen, I get really angry or depressed, and feel like they're a bad student because I'm not listening. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because that's how the Dalai Lama treated me. I wasn't listening to him. I was the one with the great big sign saying, I am His Holiness Gawa Jampa. And they came to my house in Dharamsala and said, take that sign down. There's only one His Holiness. I said, no, there's not. There's one down the road. Karmapa, there's me, there's a whole bunch of us. But I had to take the sign down. And he never showed up. And I got poisoned. I almost died. I was sick for 3 days. Instead of having a meeting with the Dalai Lama, I get poisoned. Which is a pretty not an uncommon thing, because there was so much irreverence manifested within my circle that was not going to protect me, creating so much bad karma in my future that I would have to absorb, because it all comes around, and I have to absorb it. Makes sense? And there's no way I can change that, because I'm not that free will. I am Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? It's always that. It's never anything else. Yeah. 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 So it's really important. Prasadam, and the influence of happiness, is a sign, that the door is closed and Buddha can meditate. Because if that's not there, then it has to go to the arrangement of Babaji. And that means nobody comes near Babaji ever. And Babaji lives in a cave or does whatever he wants to do, but it's not in a public sense. That's the history of Babaji. And Babaji lived for 2,500 years. Simply because of prasadam. The only people who fed him were his disciples. And there was only one or two. And I eat normal. Wasn't crazy eating, wasn't fanatical eating, I wasn't vegetarian. I ate normal. But I ate prasadam. And it never got bad on me. Never took age. I never took illness. Never had pain or suffering. No one ever harmed me, attacked me, treated me wrongly. For 2,500 years. But all my emanations, because they weren't in a cave, they were not receiving prasadam. And I couldn't protect them. And many of them chose to do what I did. Go to the cave. Have hundreds of caves. Move from cave to cave. That's what I did as Tsongkhapa. That's what I did as Milarepa. That's the only way I got there. It wasn't because I had friends. It wasn't because I was empowered. It's because we empowered each other by sitting and receiving and keeping the reception going on, and then we'd have transmission and awareness of right relationship, and we'd be drawn master to masters. And we'd create this chain reaction that would bring the highest incarnations on earth. And that's a fact. So it's really, the process of Maitreya is the process of normalness. Because I'm not like a regular guru kind of guy. I create householders. I create Tibetan masters who have children, and they are Rinpoches, and they have all this kind of stuff, and where else are they going to come from? It's a natural order of reality. Karmapa's got it, the other one's kind of open for it. But he's so fanatic on this end, there's very little hope for that until I can come in and help balance him out, because this isn't the wrong way, the wrong view. Most of the Karmapas did this. Most of my students did this. So it really is the view of heaven. If you see Vajradhara, it's the view all the way down from Shambhala. So it's right view. Does that make sense? But it's really difficult for tukus to receive recapitulation because they are wrong view. They're not focused on the teacher. They're focused on the other emanations and whether or not who's who and who's what. And, even though emanations are emanations, look at the Karmapas. Sakya Tenzin is so screwed up. He's a wonderful guy, but he's screwed up. He's got 4 kids or 3 kids, 3 boys, and his brother's got 3 or 4 boys, and they've got 2 separate connections, and only one person gets to be Sakya Tenzin. It's been that way since the beginning of Sakya Tenzin. But he screwed up. He goes, Wrong view. Yeah. I'll tell you what. How about all you, my grandkids, my brothers, all you. You get to all be Sake Trinzen. We'll do it every 3 years. Yeah. How embarrassing that it's gotten to that. That the influence of the whole of Tibetan Buddhism affects the influence of what that person thinks is a central, only their own lineage, as though this is a Sake lineage, we can do whatever we want. Not really. It just is a ramification to why the Karmapa's in that scene, why I'm sitting in this scene. Yeah. Yeah. There's more nature to humanity and Buddhism in humanity than there is in this religious fanaticism of everything. Men and women are meant to love each other. The children are meant to be born. Yeah? Yeah? But we're not to do this with astral illusion and psychicism and astrology. We don't put spells on people to get people. We don't put spells on people to keep people from being more powerful than you or more useful than you or anything like that. Yeah? We don't fall into the hands of witches and warlocks who do it behind the scene without you knowing it. Telling you one thing, but actually they're doing a different thing. Yeah? We don't, because I teach not to do that. Don't go there. Don't do this. Protect yourself. That's why they know me as a teacher of protection. Yeah. And I don't say you got to be vegetarian, because that would be evil. I don't say that. I say don't be stupid. Follow the middle way. I will transmit out into humanity the teachings. The teachings will come to us. Scientists will tell us it's stupid to be a vegetarian. Yeah? It's common sense to eat these particular fruits and vegetables. Common sense. So we all slowly but surely will move in that direction. Now personally, I have to be the mother of all the children. So I have to make sure that I'm in spontaneity. Because all my emanations have to be helped. Some are fanatical, some are not. So I have to be spontaneous in the direction in which I take everything. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it may not seem like, whoa, this follows the best of the possible ways of doing something. But that isn't how I work. Yeah. I do all to turn the wheel of dharma. Yeah. And it has to do with emanations. And this is a phenomenon, paranormal reality here. And these emanations deeply affect me, but I affect them even more. And if I stay clear with prasadam, then all of us will join the ashram. Does that make sense? Because it's all about the center, receiving the light, transmitting the light, and being the rainbow body. Without that, we've got other people saying this is the rainbow, and we got other people saying this is the light, and we got, all kinds of false teachings. Okay, thank you very much. And that's my teaching for today. Enjoy. Have a happy relationship. Enjoy yourselves. Boom.